Hey everyone, and welcome back. Bit of a change of gears today, and we're going to be exploring and looking at the solo jazz guitar style, or fingerstyle if you will. The piece in question is the classic jazz standard You Took Advantage of Me by Rodgers and Hart, which I performed there at the top of the video. Now, as with the previous video demonstrations that I've posted on this channel, I really want this to be a more general guitar lesson which explores the key themes, ideas and thought processes behind playing in this style, rather than me simply show where to put your fingers on the fretboard in order to play the piece. Now, of course, I will be doing that as well, but I want my modus operandi in recording these lessons to be a broader approach, which really gets into the fundamentals of the playing style in question. So in this instance, that would be solo jazz guitar. Hopefully then you can pick up some more general concepts to add to your own playing repertoire, as well as a better understanding of how you would go about arranging and performing similar pieces in this style. So before getting into how to play the piece, I'll briefly explain how I came about the arrangement. So I'd say about 2/3 of it, roughly, I worked out from scratch with just reference to the good old standards reel book here. So there it is on the correct page, and I'll reference that during the course of this video. So of course with the reel book it gives you the chords and then the melody and standard notation. So it was a case of going through that and then coming up with my own interpretation of it. So adding in bass runs, lead parts, chord inversions, things like that. For the remaining roughly 1/3 of the piece, I worked out that from a Joe Pass, Ella Fitzgerald duo that they recorded together, I think sometime during the 70s, not entirely sure. But I really liked what Joe plays for the intro and the solo sections of that piece. So they're the parts where there's no vocals, so Ella's not singing during those parts, and I like everything Joe does, but I really like their version of this piece. So that's what inspired the solo and intro sections of this arrangement, which I'm going to show you. What I did was I'd listened to the audio of their recording and tried to work out what Joe was playing. I couldn't find any video, so it was a little bit more difficult. And there are parts during those two sections that aren't the same as what Joe played, but I did try and work it out as close as I could. Also, some of the inversions are probably different to what Joe plays, but it's very close. So when I go through those sections during this video demonstration, I'll be sure to point out that's where they've come from. So let's get into the intro section now then. So that's as follows. So this is a section that I took from the Joe Pass Ella Fitzgerald recording, as mentioned earlier. I'll put a link to that version in the video description below so you can hear it. I couldn't see what Joe was playing, as I already mentioned, but that's what I worked out. The end of it's slightly different, I think, but essentially you've got this walking bass line. One thing I like to do playing solo jazz guitar is hone in on the bass and the melody, and to a large extent not worry so much about the chords. I know it sounds really odd, but you can almost fill in the chord once you know what's going on in the melody and the bass, as long as you know the type of chord that it is. Here, with listening to an audio recording and trying to work it out, I've honed in on the bass first to get that, and that's what I worked out. And then the melody is this. So then once you know the bass and the melody, it's a case of then filling in the gaps, if that makes sense. So you had... So... like that. So all that's changing there is the bass note. So you've got F played with the thumb to F sharp, and then the third and the fifth from F major. So you're playing two strings, the G and the B string here. So then it goes to G, and the melody changes slightly up the first note. So and then the same melody line. So far we've got... Now you're playing here, the B flat. So that's first fret A string. Then it goes to A. So the chord's like an A minor 7. First, third on the B and the E string over the A minor 7 chord. Then up to... Now this is kind of like a diminished chord. Here with the D as the bass note. So... This is where I believe this is slightly different to what Joe plays. Then F note on the first fret there, E string. Then you've got the G again, and then that's like a G minor 7 with the F melody note. Now I played that as an arpeggiated line rather than comped. Now that's a C7 chord, which of course is the fifth of F major. And then this inversion. Now you find this quite a lot in jazz playing where chords look weird sometimes, and if you're not used to them, that is. But often there's only a slight variation in what would otherwise be a well-known chord, if that makes sense. So there, when you go back, it looks like, when you just view it, it's a wildly different, or not wildly, but significantly different chord, but it actually isn't. It's the same chord, just the bass note changes. And that is a half step into or back into the F, and you get this all the time in jazz as well, but we'll talk about that throughout the video later. But here, C7 back to F major. So in context from the A minor 7 chord. This piece is in a major key, but often with jazz pieces, you find that they slip in and out of different either modes or tonalities. I guess you'd call it the feel of the tune. So I think what Joe's going for here is very much starting with the F major feel. Now here, it kind of slips into more of a bluesy feel, or like dominant 7. It's like a Mixolydian mode, I guess. So it's major. But what you find a lot in jazz is that it'll kind of slip into a bit of a bluesy vibe. But it's still in major. You know, that kind of stuff. Actually, Joe Pass does a really good instructional video on this called The Blue Side of Jazz. I think it might be available on YouTube, I'm not sure, but check that out, it's really good. It's essentially how you can take the basic 12-bar blues concept, like this kind of thing, and so on, and really spruce it up and elaborate on it to sound a lot more jazzy, and how blues is just really a form of jazz. There's the intro. Now for the verse section and the chorus section, they're completely my own arrangement. So I'll refer to the standards book here, the real book, which I've got open. Adds to the chords and what's going on. So when I'm looking at the chords, all I'm really interested in is the type of chord, i.e. is it a minor, a major, dominant 7th tonality, rather than the exact chord type. And the reason for that is that it's an odd one with solo jazz guitar, but unlike a piano where you can stack notes and then play the melody, with guitar you end up having to miss notes out of chords. The shapes of the chords can also be totally different depending on where the melody is and how it has to fit into the chord. So for the chords for this piece in the verse, it's telling us F6 to F sharp diminished 7th to G minor 7th to C 7th. Then it's telling us an A bass note over an F6 chord to A flat diminished 7th to G minor 7 to C 7th. So altogether that would be so I'll not go on because it's not what I played, but in adding the melody note, it meant playing completely different chord shapes to those. So what I've actually got is okay, so I'll break that down. F major 7th chord but played with the thumb on the 1st fret. And the melody is that. So all from the chord of F major. There, B string, G string, D string. Then we've got a melody note there, which is the E note on the D string 2nd fret. Then that's the melody note, D string 1st fret. Now that's the chord that we're playing as the F sharp diminished 7th. Like that. Thumb on the 2nd fret, low E string. And then you've got here D string 1st fret. Then you've got G string 2nd fret and B string 3rd fret, like that. Then the melody notes here, so that fits nicely into the G minor 7 chord, as does the next melody note into the C 7th chord. So those two chord shapes there are just the G minor 7th chord and C 7th chord. Played like that. Now, one of the stylistic elements of jazz guitar is a walking bass line. So when you're playing solo style jazz guitar, it's good to get as much of that in as you can. So like that, half steps into chords in either direction, either from above or below, are a real fundamental aspect of jazz bass playing. So if you had a chord progression, you get so much stuff like that going on in solo jazz guitar. And it gives the impression of a walking upright bass. So the next part of this verse section that's an A minor 7th chord. And the melody is just that. 1st to 3rd fret on the B string. Now, this chord here is the A flat diminished 7th, but the melody note is there or there. So you could play it like as a standard diminished. I think that would be known as the standard diminished chord shape. But I find it easier to play there because of where the other chords are in the progression on the fretboard, and it makes the transition easier between them. So I'll show you this chord shape. You've got, of course, the root there, which is the A flat. Then you've got here this F note on the D string 3rd fret. Then here we're fretting the 4th fret G string. Then a bit of a stretch to the F note on the high E string 1st fret. Now, here's another aspect of solo. I mean, this could apply to any fingerstyle guitar, but particularly with jazz fingerstyle solo. You need to be missing certain strings out sometimes. Like here, we're not playing that note that's just muted. Like play the open B, because that's just a repetition. So we've got this. Then here you've got, now for the 1st and 2nd verse, I played this slightly differently, so I'm going to show you both ways in one, so I don't have to repeat the sections of the song. But it's really good to experiment with this and put your own spin on it and try different things. That's what I really always would like to encourage with this. So here when I'm playing, there's different ways of playing it, but we're coming out of this A flat diminished 7th to G minor 7 to C7. That's the same note. So here, the melody note, you're just adding on to the chord. Now you could play it there, as we did in the intro. It's the E is the melody note over the C7. So that's here, G, barred, right the way down the 3rd fret, and then little finger here on the 6th fret B string. And then for the C chord you play there. Now here you could play just a normal C7 bar chord shape. This is where slight inversions don't really matter too much. the great thing about jazz, although it's considered to be a complicated style of music, the really good thing about it is that it's all about improvisation. So if you play a particular chord inversion and you like it and it's not what's written down, it doesn't really matter because it's all about improv anyway. As long as you're not getting like intolerable dissonance and it's wrong fundamentally, then go with it. So here, and as well, this is another thing, it's much more pleasant to go like that between those two chord shapes than having to go to the standard C7 shape chord. So a lot of this is economy of motion. It's what falls under the fingers nicely. It's a balance between what you want to play and what you can play. So we've got this. That's another half step down if you want to do it. You can just do the bass note like that. Okay, so far we've got this. Okay, here, I'll make a point of this. The book has this as a C minor 7th chord, but to me that sounded wrong, and it clearly isn't wrong because it's in the book. But this also happens quite a lot with jazz standards, where the version that you are familiar with might not be the original. It's difficult to know even what the original is with a lot of jazz standards. You'll come about them through somebody else's interpretation. So every song in this real book here will have been covered countless times by famous or not famous jazz musicians over the years. And I think what's happened here for me is that whatever version I've been familiar with of this song, I've owned a couple and I'm familiar with more, whoever has played this song has substituted that C minor 7, and so it's ingrained itself in my mind as sounding different. So what I played, that's a long way of me telling you, I played this chord. So I'll play it in context again, since I've rambled on a bit there. So let me first show you what this chord is. So there's an F bass note, then an F note here. So you wouldn't actually necessarily have to play that bass note there with the thumb. You could just play this inversion. But anyway, so the root and the third of F major, then the fifth, and then finally the high A note, which is the melody note. So I've gone for more of an F major tonality than a C minor 7. So here for this section, I largely disregarded what's in the book and went purely creatively by ear and what I thought sounded good to me. So it's this. Like that. So what we're actually going to do here, this is economy of motion again, thinking how to make your playing fluid, incorporating in the limitations of the instrument. So we're going to play open strings so we can then get up the neck fluidly. Because then we're going to go here up to wherever that is, so the 6th fret. So it's this. So you're playing that chord shape that I just demonstrated, then an F melody note, like that. Open E, then another F melody note, so 2. Then here is the next bass note, which is 1st fret D string. Then 1st fret B string, which is a C note. Then an open D bass note. So played in context. Okay. Then, now this in the book is a B flat major 9 chord. I wasn't worried about that particularly when I was working this out. I just wanted to make sure I got the right tone of the chord, so a B flat major, and then getting the melody note in. So you play the bass note first, and it's a pull off. So I'll show you the shape of the chord here. So it's 6th fret, B flat, then there's a G string, 7th fret, and it's a bar, and then you fret the high E string on, where are we, 8th fret, and then a pull off, like that. Then the next chord is an E flat 9 in the book. And you want, that's the melody note. So here I played this. So that's the 6th fret, barred, and then the 8th fret on the D string. And you can do, again, it's giving me a common theme, the slide up on it, ascending note in half step up to the chord. Now that ends up being there an E flat 7th chord, because of course E flat 9 is a derivative of a dominant 7th. So in line with what I said previously, what I'm thinking there is, okay, it's a dominant 7th tonality and I need to get the melody note and the bass note in. And once you do that, it's going to effectively work. So that's what I played. That's the bass note in between. But you could play. And there's the E flat dominant 7th. And then here, can't remember what the book has. Oh, it's got F6 with a C bass note. So I played just an F, because the melody note is just a straightforward F major 7th chord. And then on the second beat of the chord, play the C note, which is what the book wants. There. So we've got back to the G minor 7th chord here on the 3rd fret. But you need to get the high G note on the 3rd fret, top E string in. Like here. Then I played what is actually a C major. Often, and I was deliberating whether to do something else for this section, when you put straight up major or minor chords in a jazz piece, it's not in keeping with the feel and the style of the rest. So major, straight up major chords particularly are very prominent in pop music and country music, but they can sometimes sound out of place in a jazz piece. So this is the only section where I thought to myself, does that sound a little bit more like it's getting into the realms of a country pop style piece? You don't want that in jazz, it's not the style. But ultimately, it's only 2 chords, and I liked emphasizing and prioritizing the melody, so I went with it like that. So it goes from this, the F major 7th, all the way up on the 8th fret, to the G minor 7th on the 3rd fret, and then the C 7th, which is actually played as a C major, just in this instance here. Then back to F major. And again, I played that as an F major, so that was what I was concerned about, was you've got 2 straight major chords there. Maybe I should have played that as a 6th or a major 7th or something, some other inversion, but I thought it's fine in the end. So I'll play, having explained it, that first verse section again. We've then got this little turnaround, if you like. I mean, it's not a true turnaround, but it gets you back into the start of the verse again. It's based on a bass run, really. So you've got open A, B, C, then it's the C 7th, but you're playing sharp 9, which is that shape there. So it's C, then you've got here E on the 2nd fret, D string, here, so that's G string 3rd, and then here, which is the 4th fret B string, and that's your C7 sharp 9. And then you can always play the 5th bass, which is always above it on the guitar when you're talking about the bass strings, like that. I'll show you a different way that I played this same verse section. It's only subtly different, but this is the sort of thing that really gives your playing a lot of originality and stops it from becoming too mundane. I always think it's not great to just repeat verse sections or choruses exactly the same throughout a piece. If you can add even a little bit of variation, then that goes a long way. So things like that. Again, I'm going to sound like a scratch record, but the half step in the chords is such a good tool in this style. So here you can play chromatic bass run. Same shape. And then here I've already touched on what you could do there. Something like that. Same shapes. This part now in the verse section, I did play differently. I think the second time through. So I'll just show you quickly that version of it. You start with this chord here. So this is like I guess you'd call this like a 6 add 9 chord, which it gets really confusing on guitar because, as I think I mentioned this earlier, with piano you'd stack notes up and it's quite logical, but with guitar you end up missing notes out. But I mean, again, like all I'm really thinking about here is getting the right voicing and general tonality. So if it's a major chord, then I just want an inversion that I like the sound of and that works within the context of the piece. And I think a lot of jazz players think along those lines, and it's really good fun once you can get into playing it and you kind of understand that concept, because you can mess around and get really creative. So we've got this. So it's a chord, and then we'll play this shape again, which was in the previous version of the verse section. Except now, play the F, and now do a passing bass note instead. So we've got this. So this essentially is a shortened F7 chord, but with an E flat as the bass note, which is in F7. It's the dominant 7th note. So with a root on. Then the C bass note there. Then the same thing here. Melody note there, importantly on C, on that E flat major. Then here, before going into the next section of the song, I played a slight variation. So this got an E flat, 7, except we're not playing the 5th. So that's the shape. So it's a bar essentially down the 6th fret from the A 5th string, and then just one melody note here, which is on the 8th fret, B string, like that. Then passing chord, which is E7. Then back to here, F major 7. Then change the bass up. Then here, rather than just the melody notes with the G minor 7th chord sustained. So for this, it really needs to be played with the thumb as the root here. And that's the melody. 3rd fret to here, the 6th fret on the B string, back to the 3rd fret E string. And then I play just another half step in. And then that is again a straight up F major. So that second variation of the verse section would be this. There, the fifth of the F major, which is a C. Now we're going to play here A7, and I just played that without the fifth because it's easier to fret it. So it's just a bar straight down. Like that. So you're getting the dominant seventh and the third. So to point out here that a lot of jazz chords on guitar are actually not difficult to play at all. So for example, the minor 7 chord shape is just that, and then this favourite here, it's the 9. So then here the C9. So going between those shapes is so easy. And then you've got shapes like that one that we've just done, which are easy enough to play. They're actually easier to play than full major bar chords. So anyway, it's just a little aside there. The chorus section of the song is a classic, like circle of fifths, as played as dominant sevenths, which occurs in a few jazz standards. Swing era music of this type. The one that springs to mind is a piece that I've covered and performed on the channel a few years ago, I Got Rhythm by Gershwin. So I'll come to that in a minute to compare them and to give an example, but I'll play the section of the song first to give this context. So we're coming in from that A7. So what we've got here is we're starting on a D minor chord and the melody is this. So I played here an alternating bass, so the fifth of the D minor 7th, which is of course an A note, but as an open string like that. Like that. So what you've got here is that D minor 7 chord, which is the standard D minor 7 chord, or the 7th chord, D minor 7 chord shape on the 5th fret. And the melody, 6th to 8th B string. Then, here, so you've got there on the 8th fret G string. Then there, that E note on the B string 5th fret. And you play the A bass note there, there. So here, when we get to this E7th chord, is when we go through the circle of fifths played as dominant 7th chords. So like this. E7, A7, D7, G7, C7, then back to F, because the C7 of course is the 5th of F, so that gets you to the root. So, and then really here all I was doing was filling out the bass between those chords, like this kind of thing. So you could play this in a number of ways. Like that. Half step down, or the fifth bass note wise of the chord before it. To explain as well, you're kind of going backwards in a circle of fifths, so like anti-clockwise, if that makes sense, because when you play the E seventh, it then goes to A seventh, so of course E is the fifth of A, and then when you go to D here, so A is the fifth of D, so you're going like backwards. That's the easiest way to play it. And these shapes are the same every time. So that's your standard seventh shape, which you can play like that, of course, while we're playing it here. Standard F major when we get to it, with a C, bass, and again passing chord, which is the same chord, half step down like that. Repeat. So you want to get the G, open G is the melody note. Okay, then again, there I played that. Still had a bit of variation. Okay, and then we're going to go into the solo section after this. So as a total aside, but hopefully a useful one, there's a few jazz standards that do this kind of thing, so immediately what springs to mind is the classic Gershwin standard I Got Rhythm, which is probably one of the most covered and most well-known jazz standards of the swing era. Just a really similar kind of idea. So now we're into the solo section. The solo section, as I explained at the top of this video, I worked out by listening to the Joe Pass arrangement from his duet recording that he did with Ella Fitzgerald. If you want to listen to the specific section part, then it's minute 1:27 of the recording. I've posted a link to it in the video description below here. So as long as that stays up on YouTube, you'll be able to listen to it. So have a listen to that if you want to familiarise yourself with the part that Joe played. So I listened and I tried to work it out, but inevitably I didn't get it exactly spot on, but close enough, and I was happy with it. So there's a little lick he does there, and then it goes back into the verse section of the solo, if you like. So it's the solo section over the verse chords. So I put this in after the first, like what I class as the chorus section. So we'll come out of that, like where that would be. So instead of going to the F major chord as you would on the first repetition, we're playing this G minor 7th chord with a C. And then this is where it goes into Joe's arrangement. Starting off with this cool lick. And then we've got some chord substitutions. So we've got like an A minor 7th here, where the F major would be. So I'll show these chords and then I'll just talk a bit about what I see is going on here. So we've got, so that would just be the standard A minor 7, how I would play it. But we've got a D note in there. Like that. Then here is like a diminished chord with a flat. So you're just descending the bass line one note. Like that. And that shape is here. Here the F note on the D string, 3rd fret. Then here we're fretting 4th fret on the G string. And then here little finger is on the 6th fret high B string. So it's a fairly tricky chord to finger, that one. You've got then a simple G major 7, and then that melody run or lead line. So we've got this. So that's just 3rd fret, B, this is on the B string, 3rd fret, 6th fret, and then on the high E string, that A note on the 5th fret. I think Joe there played a single note, but I really like this chord, which we've played once already in this arrangement. And it's like that 6-add-9 chord shape. Be a C, 6-add-9 chord. But we're just playing it from here, the A. So it's a really easy chord to finger and really nice. 4 notes. So you've just got here, it's 2 bars essentially. So you've got bar there. We're currently on the 7th fret, on the D and the G string, and then on the 8th fret, the B and the high B and the E string there. So then, so again we're staying on C. So it's kind of like when you've got the C9 chord there. Really, if you were just playing, it looks like a completely different chord, but it's really just one note. Just this. So here we've got the A minor 7th, the open A, and then it goes back, descends back to the passing chord below it, so it would be the A flat minor 7th. So you got A minor 7th to A flat minor 7th, and this. So that's a bit of a stretch. So here, that's what you've got. So 5th fret A on the high E string to here, the 8th fret C. With the chords. It's a bit of a stretch, that one. And then to G minor. So that's literally just then you've got that nice little lead run there. Like that. So that's G minor 7. And you've got here, which is the 6th fret B string. Then it's like a bar with the little finger. The 6th fret high E string to the 8th fret high E string. Then here, it's like a half slide into that A on the high E string on the 5th fret, like that. Now that there is just an F major triad. There's the root. Like that. So So 5th fret, 6th fret B string, 5th fret G string, 3rd fret G string, back to 5th fret G string, 2nd fret G string. Then here I did something a little different after having messed about with it for ages, and purely this was going off ear again, with a total disregard for what the actual chords are. Sounded good to me, and that's always a good philosophy, I think. If it sounds good to you, then it probably sounds good. So I'll just show you the chord shape is this. So we've got here A string 4th fret, then D string 2nd fret, G string 4th fret, and B string 5th fret. It's like 7 sharp 9 with a 3rd flattened as well. And then you move that back. So that's just the same shape, back 1 fret. Then we've got this, which is like a B7. And now that, there's obviously no fret here, but if there was, it would just be like that. That would be semitone up, but so that's here, just 3 notes, B on the 2nd fret there, and then 2nd fret, G string, 2nd fret, B string, then the same 3 strings open, and then hammer on 1st fret. So like what we started with in the solo section, when the minor 7th chords descend, now it's... So I'll play it again, just in context. There. Then we've got... Now here I think Joe played... But I love that little slur, I play that all the time. It's just chromatic. It's good for lead playing. That kind of thing. And so on. So we've got... So you come out of this. There's a quick mute there. I was finding there, I was getting quite a lot of unwanted fret noise and string noise. So you got to mute it. Because you're jumping from the 1st fret to here to the 4th fret. And the run is just here, 4th fret B string, and then you start on the 6th fret high string. Chromatic pull off. It's legato style. It's just B string, 2nd fret, then the A flat bass note there, 4th fret, and then B string, 1st fret. So it's going down each time. Then here, 2nd fret, low E string, and then this note, G string, 3rd fret, B flat, I guess. And then that there is just the F major. So that's just 1st fret, the F with a thumb, G string, 1st fret, hammer on 2nd fret. Then just this lead run, all from F major scale. Yeah. 1st fret, B string, 3rd fret, B string, 1st fret, E string. jump up to the 5th fret E string, then an A7 chord like that. Now we're into what I've been calling the chorus section. And now this is slightly differently played, but more similar to what I actually played for this section. It's difficult because I have my own idiosyncrasies when I play, which don't often make sense. So here I was playing that shape, but actually it's just this shape that I've been referring to before as like the dominant 7th shape, but without the 5th played on the 5th string. So this bit after you play the dominant 7th, so we come in, then the same D minor 7th chord with that switch up to the A bass note that we did previously, like that. So you could in fact just play like that shape. So that's just the bar down the 6th fret and the G string on the 7th fret, like that. Then you've got A7 with the high A. Then here we've got this. Now that's just as a lead line but with chord melody. So it's just D7th with the drone note, listen. But yeah, it's just D7. Then, but it's just, if we stick to that dominant 7 shape here that we've been playing throughout, it's just starting on the 4th fret to the 3rd, half step down in. I hope you're beginning to see by now how much of this is half steps in to chords, either descending or from above or the other way around, so ascending or descending. There's so much of that goes on because what you're doing is you're simulating, emulating, imitating what a bass player would be doing, and of course a jazz bass player is doing walking bass lines like this kind of thing. With chords. So we're up to here. Now here's the same thing. And now we're on C7. Then we've got this, which is just, and again, I was playing it that way, but you could play it in that standard dominant 7 position shape. And then this again, which we've done once before in this solo section, which is the F major 7th chord. It's just started to chuck it down with rain outside, so you could probably hear that through the mic. Then you've got, which is really nice, little ascending bass run. So that's G on the low E string with here the 3rd fret on the G string, which is a B flat in this instance. But that's the 2 notes you play, and then you just move it up a fret each time. Okay, like that. got, so that's slide up from the 6th to the 7th on the G string, then slide down from the 6th to the 5th on the B string, then back to the 7th fret G string, like that. That's here E7 sharp 9 to flat 9. Bit of nice dissonance there. Then you've got a slide up from the 5th to the 6th on the G string, open D. So this bar the 5th string, top 3 strings like that, and then to the 8th fret. I can't remember now on this D7 what inversion I played it. The sharp 9 works fine. Third back as well. Both of these two shapes played throughout the piece and will continue to, so it doesn't matter really. Then you've got this pattern here. This now for this part of the solo is tricky because it's literally a different chord every beat, so there's a lot of fast chord changes here. So that's a G7. So this is the same shape we just played a few beats ago, Barco, on that bit. Now we've got here, except now we're fretting, it's not open, we're fretting the first or the top 4 strings now on the 3rd fret, and then it's the same distance here, the same 2 frets in between, so we're now on the 6th. Then we've got this C9. This chord, so we're on the 6th fret and barring, so we're barring the 4th, the D, the G and the B on the 5th fret, and the root is the low E 6th fret. This is descending, so you've got there. So this now is, it's like an F major triad with an A bass. So you can actually play the open A here. So you've got 6th string on the 6th fret on the B string, then you've got the G string 5th fret, and then 3rd fret D string, and then 5th fret here, the bass or open. Then D, sharp 9, 7 sharp 9. There. So then G minor 7. Now here you can just play a C9 or a sharp 9. and then back to the same shape there. Then you make sure here you're just changing one note. So you're going from this F to the F sharp. Now what this is doing, we're back on for the main verse section. When it goes up to that diminished, we're emulating that, but we're just with one note. That then is slide, so just two notes, second, so you've got the D and the G, second to third frets. Then we did this again once before the start of the solo. Little finger, B string 6th fret, E string 6th fret, 6th fret. Slide up to the 8th fret, then. So that's a bar right down on the 3rd fret from the C. Then you've got 5th fret, E string, high E string, pull off to the 3rd. And the same on the B string, physically above it on the guitar. Like that. Okay, like that. Then you've got, this is back to the very start of the solo section after the, you remember you had the A minor 7 with the D on top. Same as we did at the start of the solo. Now that we've played already as well, that. So that was that F major triad. Except now we'll go there. So that's the 8th fret on the D string to the 10th, slide up. So to the here, the 7th fret D string, A note. Okay, then we've got this. So that's like with the 9th fret, 9th shape chord. So here, 8th fret on the D string, then a bar down with this finger on the 9th fret, and then you've got the little finger there on the 10th fret. So you to send that down one, but take your little finger off when you do, like that. So now you've got this shape here, which is like a diminished inversion. So we're on the 7th fret, low E string fret here, B. So yeah, you can hear that. There. Then we've got this shape, which we haven't done yet. So that's like bar here. So we're on the 8th fret, top 2 strings, barred little finger. Then there, which is the G string on the 7th fret, with a root on the 6th fret, low E string. So then we've got just that 9th chord move back again from the E to the E flat. Then grab the 5th of that E flat and here. So there we're on the 8th fret on the B string. Then this same shape that we just did. So we previously played that here on the 6th fret. And now we're playing it here on the 3rd fret, same shape. So barring the 5th fret this time with the little finger. And then we're back here now to the C7 or C9, which gets us back into F, which is the resolution chord, the key of the piece. And then I played to this major on the 8th fret, A string. So that last section and then again half step down, that's that same dominant 7 shape, so the 6th fret to the 5th fret. Okay, so hopefully that's enough to have a pop at the solo section. It is quite tricky, it took me quite a while to get my fingers and my head around it. So now we're back into this section. So here you can just play the same thing or try a couple of variations out in terms of the bass and the phrasing. Then when you get back the second time through, instead of, because this is where we came with the solo section the first time around, so on. Instead of that, we've now got on the second run through of it, which is kind of like the intro. So just, where are we here? So that's the G minor 7th with the C on top, just to the C 7th chord, and then to this same C7 but with the F sharp, G flat note in the bass, and then back into the main verse section. Now for this next main verse section, it's a repetition, but you can try and play or just play any of the variations that we did previously, or mix it up a bit, or add your own in. So that goes through again. So here, now this, I just kept quite simple and just went between the G minor 7 and the C7, C9 chord, like that. Like this. I can't even remember, to be honest. Once I got to this stage of the piece, when I was actually doing the performance video, all I was concerned about was finishing it off without screwing anything up. But yeah, I believe it was just between these two chords. So I'll show you the outro in a second. But it's just repeating the last few bars of the verse section, and then that tells the listener that it's about to go into the outro, it's about to finish. So like, then I played this. So it's this shape here, just the, I'm coming from the C7 with the 13th in, which is the A. And you can use either the F or the C as the bass here. To the G minor 7. Half step in with the bass again. Then this. Now this is like a kind of a turnaround that I use a lot. And it's not too dissimilar to the start of the verse section in this piece. It's the same real concept. Nice played higher up the neck because you get a higher pitch. So same bass note, F, F sharp, 9, sharp 9, 7, sharp 9. And that shape is one that we've used throughout. Then, so again, just play the bass and then up 1 again, and now this minor 7, which is a G minor 7 that we were playing on the 3rd fret, root 6, now it's a root 5 on the 10th fret, and now one of my favourite chords. Watch this, by the way. This is just something to add into your playing. When you've got a root 6 dominant 7th in a jazz context, obviously that's the dominant 7th, but there's loads of like really nice quick variations you can do. Like that. Here. Loads of just subtle variations. Then I play to finish. Now that's just a F6 arpeggio. So it's a bar right down the 10th fret there. Like that. Then this was the like 6 add 9 chord that we've done a couple of times. So here we're on the 7th fret, barred the D and the G, and then the 8th fret barred the B and the E string out. Then that pull off. So hammer onto the 10th, move the shape up 2 frets. So we're now here, we're starting on the 9th, then up again the same. There's a slide, then up 1 fret, and then that gets you to the F, which is the resolution. And that's just a more chord melody from F major. Now, playing the bass like that isn't to look good. It's because I can't get to it with my thumb because I haven't got a cutaway on this guitar, so just tap it on there. And then I think I just went back to the F there, an octave down. So yeah, that's the piece in its entirety. So that kind of wraps this video up. So thanks again for anyone who's watching this. I think I've said this before in my other videos as a little disclaimer, but I'm jumping on here and really doing these videos quite ad hoc because I get people ask me for tabs quite a lot. And for me, it's just more interesting and fun to talk through what's going on rather than try and create a tab video. I get more out of it. So hopefully you can too. And I'll see you next time. Cheers.